Hello everyone, Felipe here from Fênix Grace in Berlin. Long time that I don't talk you through a camera. I'm here today with Dania to talk about some important issues regarding training. Lately, there are some situations that happen here in the gym, and I want to address those issues either to make the training safer for you and so you can have a better experience as well. Alright, so people, from the get-go, first thing that I'm going to talk about, hygiene. Alright, so this is not just regarding training, it's human beings 101, okay guys? But when we're talking about training, people, clean clothing, either the gi or the rash guard that you're using for your no-gi training. Alright, they're always clean. Shower every day, that's good as well, it's important. We want to train, we want to have the best experience, so we don't want to be dealing with bad odor and situations like that. And also very important, trim your nails as well. People, I see a lot of people that get cuts because people are not properly trimming their nails. So wearing underwear as well. Okay, I've seen all kind of situations during my time in jiu-jitsu, teaching, training, and people make sure that this is a topic that you have fixed. Okay, this is basic, but it's important to say. Okay, so the second issue we're going to talk about in training people, specifically sparring, is safety. All right, injuries are part of any sport. Sometimes it can happen. But we have also the duty of talking to you so you can make this as safe as possible. Alright? So people, there is some stuff that is very important to understand is that when we're training, we are not competing. Okay? Even if we're competing, we don't want to hurt our opponents. Right? But specifically in training, where the focus is to get better. Right? And this is your focus and your partner's focus as well. Alright, so if you hurt your partner is not going to be here, it's not going to help you get better as well. Alright, so as a team, this is very important to keep in mind. Okay, so just something that you have been doing, I don't know if you're a beginner or someone that has more experience, this is valuable for both of you. Alright, but every time I'm here with my partner, we start the session and we do this that we just did, this is a commitment between us that we're responsible for each other's safety, right? Because I can, for example, during the roll, hold my opponent in a submission, and we're both responsible for that, right? I am not gonna rip her arm if that's an armbar, and she's also gonna be responsible to understand when this position has gone far enough for her to quit. Okay, so this is very important for both of you to have. Okay, so I'm gonna show a simple example of this. Okay guys, so check it out. Alright, so let's say that I have Dania here in side control position. I control her wrist and I went for a kimura. Okay, I want to talk about the kimura because the kimura is one of the most, how can I say, it's a dangerous submission because a lot of people, when they want to get the kimura, they want to boom, rip the arm to break the grip and get the submission here, and this is dangerous for the shoulder. Totally legal, super valid, super good submission, but I just want to show this position here to illustrate how we deal, and not just with the kimura, but with any other submissions we're talking about. So for example, I'm here with Dania, and Dania is defending. She doesn't want me to bring her arm behind her back. All right, that's fine. Okay, I'm going to explode until I put the arm in the position that I need. All right, so at the moment that I'm here, I'm going to be fighting. She's fighting back. I'm going to boom, explode. As long as I have her arm here, there's no need for me to explode anymore. She's not going to be able to retrieve this. All right, and here I'm going to slowly put the pressure until she taps. Okay, so this is very important to keep in mind, people. Same thing, let's say that I switch here for an armbar. Okay, I'm gonna try to break this grip until her arm is tight. She's defending. I'm trying to get, at the moment that I got here, there's no reason for me to bring my hip up and hurt her elbow, right? As long as I have her arm extended, her wrist here controlled, then you can move as much as she wants. She's not gonna get out, okay? She's stepping here not because it's hurting. She's stepping because she has nothing left to do, right? And this is very important for us to keep in mind, okay? And on the other hand, my partner has to also be responsible for her health. What I mean by this, she has to understand that she is in this position here and there's nothing left for her to do. So for her to keep moving around and trying to escape here, there's no point. We're just training. In a tournament, this would be dangerous enough, but in training, this is totally unnecessary. Okay, people, so if you see yourselves in a situation like this, you already have the submission. People, keep adding pressure, but really slowly, so your partner realizes that it's time to tap. And people, if you're getting submitted, it's just like video game, okay? You lose, you start over, and keep going, all right? And this is the thing. Of course, we're training to tap less and less and get better, but at the same time, people, we need to tap to keep our health, okay? You can only get better if you can come back to training on the next day, okay? So this is very important for us to keep in mind. Other situations that I want to talk about, not specifically here in submissions, okay? During training, sometimes when you're rolling, nowadays we get a lot of information from everywhere. Jiu-Jitsu has become very famous, and we see Jiu-Jitsu in many tournaments, on the internet, YouTube. You see Jiu-Jitsu going on in the UFC, and a lot of people get overexcited and they want to do fancy stuff. Nothing against the fancy stuff, but make sure that you know how to do the fancy stuff, okay? This is very important, because if you're jumping around and you don't know how to do that, there's a big risk that either you can hurt yourself or it can hurt your partner, okay? So make sure that you're working with the tools that you have, with the information that you have, with what you have trained. I'm not gonna say for you not to check positions on YouTube, okay? There's a lot of good things over there, but make sure you practice those stuff here. Drilling, we have a drills class, for example, or if you're in a different gym, I don't know who am I reaching with this, but either way, make sure that you practice those positions before you try them on a live rolling, okay? Because if you start jumping around and you don't know what you're doing, then it's gonna be a dangerous situation for either you or your partner. All right, so some stuff that we have to keep in mind when we're talking about training, okay? What I want to talk about as well, people, is how to make training the best experience for you. What I mean by this is, you have those 5, 6, 7 minutes rounds. It doesn't matter how long it is. You want to take the best out of this. So make sure, people, that you're using the stuff that you're learning. For example, here in the gym, we work with different topics. So if we're working, for example, with guard, if you learn guard, close guard on that class, try to apply what you learn, okay? And at the same time, I see a situation that happens a lot when we're both rolling, that people they work on a specific topic, and then in some gyms, what happens is that people start rolling in the knees, and this happens right here. This happens a lot. So I'm starting my roll here with Daniel, and we start here on our knees, and this happens here. People, nobody's getting anything from this, all right? This is not how we roll, okay? We have to make this the best experience possible for us, all right? So let's say that we're here in the gym, we usually start in the position that we're working on. I try to put this culture here, but when we're starting on the knees, I'm gonna start here with Daniel. And if I wanna play on top, I'm gonna wait for Daniel to pull guard. If she doesn't, I'm gonna wait like 10 seconds and I'm gonna pull guard, okay? It doesn't matter, people, it's just training, all right? You have to keep that in mind, that we have to take the best out of it. So you don't get to play top, play bottom, okay? So this is important for you. And some stuff that I do as well, I like to set some goals for me. So for example, if I'm rolling with a person that I know that is not as experienced as I am, I try to do something that I have never done before. This is also a very good experience. Try to make that, for example, if I'm rolling with a person that's way lighter than I am, I'm not using my pressure. Like, for example, if I'm rolling with Danya, I'm not gonna smash Danya during the entire roll, right? I'm gonna try to move with her and use the fact that she's way faster than I am to try to improve my speed as well. Okay, so this is important. On the same level, Danya, when she gets a position, she's gonna try to use her pressure to hold me down. So she's gonna use all her pressure techniques to get this. Okay, so this is very important for you guys to keep in mind as well. I try to make the rolling experience the best for you. Try to get the most out of this. And this is related both to safety and also having a good experience. Try not to bring emotions to that, okay? What I mean by this, I see a lot of people that they don't understand that they're trying to improve. They think that they're trying to beat their partner, which makes no sense, right? This is a team, right? And we have to work with each other. You only improve if you have someone to improve with you. And what happens a lot of the time is that they tap, and they get super mad that they tap, and now they want to even the score, and they get mad, and they get excited. The problem with this, people, is first, you add a lot of emotions to the roll in a situation that you should be actually focused on your technique, right? On the stuff that you could do better, the stuff that you could do, that you could improve, right? And you add emotions to it, and now you're just focusing on getting the tap. And the risk of this is either you're hurting someone by maybe using unnecessary force in a submission, in the situation that I showed with Ikemura, for example. Sometimes you're too excited and you do that. Or there's a big risk that you're not thinking straight because of your emotions, and now you're gonna make some mistake because your technique is not the primary stuff right going on, and that you're gonna end up tapping as well. Okay, so people, when you're rolling, again, this is something that I'm gonna repeat. You're not trying to beat your partner, okay? You're trying to get better. That's it, all right? If you tap, you don't have to like to tap. Personally, I don't like to tap. We're training to not tap so much, all right? But appreciate the tap. Appreciate the fact that you have someone to tap you and show the mistakes you're doing. And don't use that to get mad, but use that as an experience, like, okay, I tapped to this. What was the mistake that I did not to tap in this again? You understand what I'm saying? Of course, this is it comes with experience, and a lot of people in the beginning are gonna have a hard time with this, but this is very important, okay? When I'm training, let's say that I'm doing a roll with another black belt, we're going full power with each other. So if we're going full power, and just a parenthesis here, full power doesn't mean hurting each other, okay? Training hard means that I'm using all of my technique, making my positions count. So if my opponent is trying to sweep, I'm gonna resist and not fall, all right? If I get mount on my opponent, I'm gonna do everything necessary not to lose my position. That's what means training hard, not giving up positions, making all of the positions that you have count, but never hurting your partner, never using elbows, knees, and none of this stuff, okay? This is not cool. You're just hurting your partner, okay? So, but in a situation that we're rolling hard, let's say that my opponent taps me here, okay? And I'm not gonna get mad with my partner. I have to understand, okay, he tapped me or she tapped me because of this mistake I did, okay? And then I'm gonna work on this. All right, I'm fighting against this, but if it happens, I have to be grateful for the fact that there was in training something that showed that I'm doing a mistake. It's way better than having this happening, of course, for example, in a tournament, or way worse on the street. If you know where you're making a mistake, people, that's gonna be a really good experience for you. And now I'm gonna give the word here to Danya. One of the reasons why I brought her is not just to show positions, but the fact that I was always a big guy, okay? And Danya is a female, way smaller than I am, so she has a different perspective of situations that I don't. So, Danya.
Thank you. Yeah, on this topic about tapping, also as being a woman, sometimes you feel like the men, they have a hard time like for this, like tapping for a woman or some situation like that, and that is very silly. Again, you should take the opportunity during the roles to learn where you can improve. And of course, for me being the smaller, most of the time the smaller or the weakest on the role, what I find useful is to communicate with my training partner. So sometimes I know that the other person is preoccupied about hurting me, even without any intention, for sure. And again, when we do this, I am fully trusting that you don't want to hurt me and that you also want to learn something from me. I want to learn something from you. So the idea is that I can tell you when something is hurting me, even if it's not a submission, but if it's a position that is making me hurt or making me feel pain, I will let you know. So this is important, that you can hear the other person and understand when it's not good for them, but also if you are the smaller one, you should tell the person that it's hurting when they do some kind of position, or it hurts when they try some submission, because if the other person doesn't know that it hurts, they will continue to do that. They can only learn if you tell them. Another thing that happens a lot with me is I know that the other person doesn't want to hurt me, and for that reason, maybe not knowing what to do, they just do nothing. And it's kind of frustrating because, I mean, we are here to practice the things that we learn, and if you do nothing, for once you're not practicing what you learn. I'm sure you learned something and you want to practice, that's why we are all here. And yeah, it's also not giving me the opportunity to practice what I learned, because I can do everything. But okay, let's say I do something because you're not offering any resistance, so I can do whatever I want and I get a submission. And I get a submission really tight. And because I am smaller or weaker, now it's the time that you have to get out of my submission and you end up using all your strengths. And this is very dangerous because it could hurt yourself, it could hurt me. And again, nobody is learning anything. You're missing the opportunity to learn how to escape from a submission, and you're also not letting me have the opportunity to perfect my technique to get the submission. So yeah, please do things, and if it hurts, I mean, the smaller person should let you know, or any person when it hurts, you should let your partner know. The last thing that happens is also, let's say we are training hard, we're not giving up positions, and you pass my guard using your pressure, your technique with pressure, fine, and you get to some control position, like side control or mount, and you just hold me there. Because you are stronger, you have good pressure, you can stay like that, and fine, but the thing is that then for the rest of the rolling, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, then we are just in the same position. So you are not practicing also how to improve your position. I am not practicing how to escape, because I can only escape when you are trying to improve, when you're trying to submission. That's when I would find some moment or some small space to escape. So when you get to some control position, think about how to improve it or how to get the submission, and then we start over.
Right, thanks.
Thank you.
And people, regarding this communication stuff that Daniel brought up, important, people, if you have some sort of injury, everything, something hurt, or sometimes even like when you're visiting another gym, or some technique that you don't want to be used. For example, heel hooks are usually dangerous. Some people have sensitive knees. People just communicate to your partner, okay? Before the rolling, talk to your partner. It's like, okay, can we please not do this submission because my knees hurt and stuff? Just communicate, all right? Again, people, we're trying to help each other to have the best experience inside, so it's important to address this. All right, people, some other stuff that I want to bring it up is how to behave in training, okay? Because I see a lot of people doing this, and I'm gonna tell you right from the get-go not to do it, okay? So in this communication area that we talk, situation that happens a lot. Okay, so situation that I'm training here with my opponent, and I start coaching my partner doing rolling, right? It goes kind of like this. So Daniel's trying to pass my guard, and she starts passing. It's That's it. Yes, yes, yes. Now put the pressure. Get the underhook. Get the underhook. Nice. Okay, stabilize, stabilize. Good. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Good. Now get to the mount. People. In my case, since I am the coach, that is acceptable. Alright? Other than that, and I understand that sometimes people have good intentions with this, but this can be really considered a dick move, right? Because you're kind of undermining your partner's abilities, all right? So be careful with this, okay, people? So you want to talk about training, do it afterwards. Especially, for example, a situation that I see happening sometimes, white belt coaching another white belt. People, I don't want to be disrespectful to any white belts, but it's like seeing a blind person guiding another blind person to cross the street, okay guys? So please be careful with this. This can sound very disrespectful, okay? You can talk about the training after the rolling, right? But during the rolling, be very careful. Of course, if you're a coach, that's a different situation. In our case, for example, I'm a black belt, then there's a blue belt, so I can talk, I can give her some hints. But even when we're training together, I try to give the hints after the roll, okay? Because it's a nice thing to do. Another situation that I see happening a lot. Alright, so I'm here, we're rolling, and this is what I talk about the emotions. Situation that happens a lot, I'm trying to get the mount, then it goes for the armbar. I tap, and then I go like this. Guys, super disrespectful, never do that. Okay? If you're competing, I understand the frustration, but in training, that's terrible. Okay? On the same scenario, being a world champion in training, that's also not cool. So, see that happening a lot as well. She's pushing, I go for the armbar, I get a submission, she taps. Yeah! Woo! Guys, please don't do that as well, alright? This is again very disrespectful, right? We're training people, we're not competing. Keep that in mind. Okay, so this is very important for you to keep in mind so you don't end up having how can I say, bad blood on the mat. Like I said, we have to have a good experience. We need our partners to help each other. So please don't be that person. Okay? And people, another thing that I want to talk about, some situations that I get questions about, is, for example, flow rolling, right? The difference between flow rolling and live sparring and situations like this. If flow rolling helps and stuff, guys, it does. Okay, it's a very good tool. For the people who don't know what this is, flow rolling is basically like a situation where we're gonna be sparring, but we're gonna be prioritizing movement and transitions a lot more than like pressure. And it is important people to understand that this is a very good step, especially for you to get some learning on how to move, on how to get a position that you're trying to learn. But the only thing that I'm gonna tell you to be careful with the flow rolling is not to base your entire training on this, because as I said, it removes a lot of the resistance and the pressure. So it removes a little bit of the realistic point of view of the position. Because since people are just flow rolling, just moving with each other without so much resistance, sometimes a position that you do in the flow rolling, you think that you can do it, but then when it comes to the live sparring, you actually can, because you have never dealt with that kind of pressure. So I like to use flow rolling as a warm-up, and it's a very good tool, it helps, but adding a little bit of realism, pressure, and the resistance is also going to be helpful. Okay? People, I think we talked a lot. Alright, I'm sorry, but there was a lot to cover in this topic. I probably have forgot something. So guys, if I have forgotten something, just ask, maybe we do another video, I don't know. But I just wanted to bring those situations up because I want you guys to have the best experience possible, right? Sometimes you will gonna make mistakes, especially the people starting now, okay? Sometimes you're gonna use sometimes unnecessary force because as a beginner, that's sometimes what you have. Okay, but either way, people try to keep that in mind so we can have the best environment here, the best environment possible, and we can prevent some accidents from happening. All right? Daniel, thank you very much for the help. People, I hope to see you soon, not from a camera, but it was good to communicate. I know that was a little bit long, but it was necessary. Thank you very much, people. Take care. Bye-bye.